Poor Richard's Almanack by Benjamin Franklin. Selections from the Apothegms and Proverbs, with a brief sketch of the life of Benjamin Franklin. Published 1914. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Michele Fry, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in November 2015. Poor Richard's Almanack. Introduction, Life of Benjamin Franklin, followed by aphorisms 1 through 99 of 678. Life of Benjamin Franklin. Opposite historic Old South Church in Boston, on January 6, 1706, was born Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin was the 15th child of Josiah Franklin, whose occupation was that of a tallow chandler or candle maker. Business was not prosperous, and the Franklin family was reared in very humble circumstances. As a child, Benjamin hungered for books and knowledge. During the 2 years that his father was able to send him to school, he showed remarkable aptitude and industry, and rapidly outdistanced his fellow pupils. The first book which Franklin read was Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress. By trading and borrowing, he managed to secure other volumes. His passion for reading was so intense that he attracted the attention of a kind-hearted Boston merchant who gave the boy access to his well-stocked library. Franklin read only books which could add to his education, and read them with a thoroughness that extracted every bit of useful knowledge. After leaving school, Franklin was apprenticed to his brother James in the printing trade. His wage was very small, and he had to live most frugally. James started a newspaper, and Benjamin set type and distributed the sheets. One day he anonymously contributed some verses and apothegms, and was overjoyed to find them accepted and published. When his brother discovered that he was the contributor, an altercation broke out between the two, due principally to the ill temper of James. The quarrel was finally the cause of Benjamin's leaving Boston and going to Philadelphia. In Philadelphia, Franklin obtained work with Keimer, a printer. His lodgings were found at the house of Mr. Reed, with whose pretty daughter, Deborah, he promptly fell in love. Mrs. Reed, however, counseled the two to postpone the marriage until Franklin should earn sufficient to maintain his own household. He was but 18 years old at this time. Sir William Keith, governor of the province of Pennsylvania, became acquainted with Franklin and offered to set him up in the printing business. Franklin, of course, accepted. At Keith's suggestion, he sailed to England to purchase an up-to-date outfit. Arrived there, he found that Keith was without credit. His beautiful plans went for naught, and he was stranded in England without funds or prospects. It took him several years to work his way back to America. When he returned, the first news to greet Franklin was the marriage of Deborah Reed to another man. At 22 years of age, Franklin had not made much progress toward the goal of his ambition, but nothing daunted, he applied himself with greater industry, greater self-sacrifice, and greater perseverance. He kept plugging away at his trade of printer and entered into business ventures with other men, all of which proved rapid failures. Finally, he struck out for himself. Coincidentally, Deborah Reed's husband died, and Franklin took her to wife. The young couple had to live on close margin for a few years. When Franklin was 27 years of age, he evolved the idea which opened the road to fame and fortune. This was Poor Richard's Almanack. The first number had a tremendous sale. His homely, trite, common-sense sayings achieved wide popularity, and each succeeding issue found more subscribers than its predecessor. The general recognition and respect gained for Franklin through the almanac gave him the opportunity to enter public life. This sphere of activity was greatly to his liking. He held important offices and introduced many splendid reforms into the municipal government. Franklin's pet project was an efficient institute of learning. When he was 37 years old, his plans materialized into the founding of an academy from which has grown the great University of Pennsylvania. The scientists of Europe were at this time becoming aware of a mysterious force which they named electricity. Muschenbroek, a German, came forth with the discovery of the Leyden jar. Franklin immediately devoted himself to a study of electricity. The subject proved too interesting, so full of possibilities, that he sold out his printing business in order to devote his entire effort to the new field. His business, started on nothing, brought the handsome price of $90,000. When Franklin declared his belief that electricity and lightning were identical, the whole world laughed. He then made his famous kite test and proved his theory. This demonstration gained world recognition for him as a scientist and won him many honors. The colonies were now passing through the turbulent period preceding the Revolutionary War. Franklin was a foremost figure in public life and became the commissioner of the colonies to England. The first cause for provocation on the part of the colonies was the Stamp Act, which imposed an enormous tax on deeds, college degrees, and printed matter. England sought to meet the expenses of the French Indian War by this tax. Franklin's efficient representation and effective pleading secured its repeal in 1766. However, 1 year later, Parliament enacted a more obnoxious bill, placing a heavy duty on tea, glass, and other commodities. Then it was that certain indignant citizens of Boston held their Boston Tea Party and brought upon the heads of the community the ill-considered, hateful Boston Port Bill. The city was virtually put into a state of seizure by the British under General Gage. This final action precipitated the crisis, and the Revolutionary War was on. Gage made his disastrous march to Concord and Lexington, and Bunker Hill ended in a triumph for American pluck. Although in favor of settling the dispute by arbitration, Franklin was as zealous a patriot as any. He was a member of the First Continental Congress and helped frame the Declaration of Independence. Later he went to Paris as special envoy to France for the colonies. He was received with great acclaim and was accorded many honors. His mission of enlisting France's aid in the struggle was completely successful. Helped by the money of France and by the valor of such men as Lafayette, the Revolution triumphed. After an absence from America of 9 years, Franklin returned. He was given a royal reception. Although 77 years old now, he still gave his country the best that was in him until his death on April 17, 1790. At his burial, 20,000 persons gathered to do him respect and honor. Franklin's life has been called the most interesting and the most successful lived by any American, and the explanation is found in the rule that guided him throughout his career: to go straight forward in doing what appears to be right, leaving the consequences to Providence. End of introduction. Now here are aphorisms 1 through 99. 1. A child thinks 20 shillings and 20 years can scarce ever be spent. 2. A cold April, the barn will fill. 3. A countryman between 2 lawyers is like a fish between 2 cats. 4. Act uprightly and despise calumny. Dirt may stick to a mud wall, but not to polished marble. 5. A cipher and humility make the other figures and virtues of tenfold value. 6. A false friend and a shadow attend only while the sun shines. 7. A father's a treasure, a brother's a comfort, a friend is both. 8. A fat kitchen, a lean will. 9. A fine genius in his own country is like gold in the mine. 10. A flatterer never seems absurd, the flattered always takes his word. 11. After 3 days men grow weary of a wench, a guest, and weather rainy. 12. After crosses and losses men grow humbler and wiser. 13. A full belly is the mother of all evil. 14. A full belly makes a dull brain. 15. A good example is the best sermon. 16. A good lawyer, a bad neighbor. 17. A good man is seldom uneasy, an ill one never easy. 18. A house without woman and firelight is like a body without soul or sprite. 19. A lean award is better than a fat judgment. 20. A learned blockhead is a greater blockhead than an ignorant one. 21. A lie stands on one leg, truth on two. 22. A life of leisure and a life of laziness are two things. 23. A light purse is a heavy curse. 24. A little house well filled, a little field well tilled, and a little wife well willed are great riches. 25. All blood is alike ancient. 26. All mankind are beholden to him that is kind to the good. 27. All things are cheap to the saving, dear to the wasteful. 28. All things are easy to industry, all things difficult to sloth. 29. All would live long, but none would be old. 30. A long life may not be good enough, but a good life is long enough. 31. A man in a passion rides a mad horse. 32. A man without a wife is but a half a man. 33. A man without ceremony has need of great merit in its place. 34. Ambition often spends foolishly what avarice had wickedly collected. 35. A mob's a monster, heads enough, but no brains. 36. A modern wit is one of David's fools. 37. An egg today is better than a hen tomorrow. 38. An empty bag cannot stand upright. 39. A new truth is a truth, and an old error is an error, though Clodpate won't allow either. 40. Anger and folly walk cheek by jowl, repentance treads on both their heels. 41. Anger is never without a reason, but seldom with a good one. 42. Anger warms the invention, but overheats the oven. 43. An honest man will receive neither money nor praise that is not his due. 44. An 100 thieves cannot strip one naked man, especially if his skin's off. 45. An ill wound, but not an ill name, may be healed. 46. An innocent plowman is more worthy than a vicious prince. 47. Anoint a villain, and he'll stab you. Stab him, and he'll anoint you. 48. An old man in a house is a good sign. 49. An old young man will be a young old man. 50. An ounce of wit that is bought is worth a pound that is taught. 51. An undutiful daughter will prove an unmanageable wife. 52. A pair of good ears will drain dry 100 tongues. 53. A plowman on his legs is higher than a gentleman on his knees. 54. Approve not of him that commends all you say. 55. A quarrelsome man has no good neighbors. 56. A quiet conscience sleeps in thunder. 57. Are you angry that others disappoint you? Remember, you cannot depend upon yourself. 58. As charms are nonsense, nonsense is a charm. 59. Ask and have is sometimes dear buying. 60. A soft tongue may strike hard. 61. As pride increases, fortune declines. 62. As sore places meet most rubs, proud folks meet most affronts. 63. A temper to bear much will have much to bear. 64. A wicked hero will turn his back to an innocent coward. 65. As we must account for every idle word, so we must for every idle silence. 66. At a great pennyworth, pause a while. 67. A traveler should have a hog's nose, deer's legs, and an ass's back. 68. At the working man's house, hunger looks in, but dares not enter. 69. At 20 years of age, the will reigns. At 30, the wit. At 40, the judgment. 70. Bad commentators spoil the best of books. 71. Bad gains are truly losses. 72. Bargaining has neither friends nor relations. 73. Be always ashamed to catch thyself idle. 74. Be at war with your vices, at peace with your neighbors. 75. Beauty and folly are old companions. 76. Being ignorant is not so much a shame as being unwilling to learn. 77. Ben beats his pate and fancies wit will come, but he may knock, there's nobody at home. 78. Be not niggardly of what costs thee nothing, as courtesy, counsel, and countenance. 79. Be slow in choosing a friend, slower in changing. 80. Better is a little with content than much with contention. 81. Better slip with foot than tongue. 82. Beware, beware, he'll cheat without scruple who can without fear. 83. Beware of him that is slow to anger, he is angry for something, and will not be pleased for nothing. 84. Beware of little expenses, a small leak will sink a great ship. 85. Beware of meat twice boiled, and an old foe reconciled. 86. Beware of the young doctor and the old barber. 87. Blame all and praise all are two blockheads. 88. Blessed is he that expects nothing, for he shall never be disappointed. 89. Buy what thou hast no need of, and ere long thou shalt sell thy necessaries. 90. By diligence and patience the mouse bit in two the cable. 91. Calamity and prosperity are the touchstones of integrity. 92. Ceremony is not civility, nor civility ceremony. 93. Changing countries or beds cures neither a bad manager nor a fever. 94. Cheese and salt meat should be sparingly eat. 95. Children and princes will quarrel for trifles. 96. Clean your finger before you point at my spots. 97. Clearly spoken, Mr. Fogg. You explain English by Greek. 98. Content and riches seldom meet together. Riches take thou, contentment I had rather. 99. Content is the philosopher's stone that turns all it touches into gold. End of section O.